Hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. This is part 5, the final part for today for Friday, June 14th, 2013 on Darko. Alright, I'm going to cover some smut news, just stuff that irks me and gets under my skin when I look through important news articles, because of course this is, the news cycle is awash of just pro-homosexual propaganda all the time. And so I cover. I mean, I could probably see someone is for this agenda, and then they'll be like, "Wow, you sure cover a lot of this." If I didn't know better, I thought maybe that you were promoting it. That's not my goal. My goal is to simply bring attention to how it's being covered in the mainstream media, also in alternative media. President Obama introduced a gay pride event by third graders. So at a White House event celebrating Gay Pride Month yesterday, President Obama was introduced by two third grade twins who are being raised by a lesbian couple. Said the twins assembled a crowd last December. They wrote the president a letter in which they asked for more funding for schools and better gun control. They also said they asked for the president's support for gay marriage because we have two moms and they are just as good as other parents. Following remarks, the president touted his regime's numerous overtures to gay rights movement, including the recent appointment of open lesbian Cuenos Alejandra to the judiciary. Obama said here to an applause would make Alejandra the first openly gay Hispanic federal judge in our country's history. We're removing Don't Ask, Don't Tell, also lifting the ban against HIV-positive immigrants. It says we've become not just more accepting, we've become more loving as a country and as a people. Hearts and minds change with time. I remember with the interview last May when he said that his views had evolved, saying that his decision to endorse same-sex marriage was based upon his Christian faith. But then again, he also claims to be a constitutional expert. That's what he studied, constitutional law. Survey offers complex portrait of LGBT Americans. Even as they acknowledge greater acceptance by society, of course through engineered consent and through guilt, says lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender Americans are on average less happy than other U.S. adults, and many report instances of rejection harassment. We find many of these LGBT Americans, these are the best of times, but that doesn't mean that these are easy times. Many are still searching for a comfortable place in a society where acceptance is growing but remains limited. 92% of the respondents say society has become more accepting of them in the past decade, and an equal number expect even more acceptance in the decade ahead. Yet 39% said that at some point they were rejected by a family member or a close friend because of their sexual orientation, followed by 30% saying they had been physically attacked or threatened. 29% reported feeling unwelcomed in a place of worship, and 58% said they'd been a target of slurs or derogatory jokes. Only 18% of LGBT adults describe themselves as very happy. Are LGBT people the new black? Now, remember, this is when I cover this, it's all the same. June 24th, whatever. This is June 13th. This is June 13th. So it says here, after she was already well into filming, the new black documentary director Yoruba Richin thought she might visit the home of the National Black Justice Coalition's executive director for a family barbecue. They wanted to see the private side of Letman Hicks away from her work as a vocal civil rights advocate for all groups, including the fight for same-sex marriage in the LGBT community. They say that a diversity of opinions around homosexuality within the African American family has been confirmed, of course. That's why the biggest resistance. That's why it's got shot down in Illinois. I was kind of baffled at how these two groups are being pitted against each other. Of course, the black LGBT people were left nowhere and made invisible. It says they put LGBT people of color front and center in the new black, depicting young activists going door to door, asking for their vote and challenging their community to re-examine their beliefs around the issue that's been traditionally taboo. Lastly, I move on here. They say here the LGBT community struggle for civil rights might have many surface resemblances to the struggle that African Americans still endure today. Again, this is like the civil rights movement success. This was not done by, they put out these figures, these icons, but this was not grassroots. This was completely engineered from the top down. And it's interesting that they use that comparison that, the struggle for African Americans, the new black, is LGBT people, which is interesting because I've mentioned this before about how Zionists use minority groups use minority groups to gain political control, social control. Yes, it does divide people, these social issues, but yeah, so, for the most part, nothing's really gotten better, right? So even with all the engineered agendas as far as black African American rights, nothing has really changed for them. But it was used to discriminate, or actually to force people to hire certain people in that, and of course the LGBT, it's all about tolerance and accepting, and not having free speech unless, of course, it's according to the social agenda. Either way, the United Nations declines pressure to form a special LGBT office, and a loss for homosexual groups at the United Nations. Member states declined to establish a special UN office for these lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender rights last week. Norway, speaking on behalf of countries that supported such an office, said that lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender issues should be integrated into the UN systematically at an appropriate time, effectively conceding this is impossible right now. So member states declined to create a special office to monitor the rights globally. So it says here that they failed to materialize at the current session, so they didn't have support for it. 4 ways to support gay marriage at your straight wedding. This is 8 hours ago. Celebration of Pride Month. Here are 4 favorite ways to show support for gay marriage at your straight wedding. Include a reading in your ceremony that not so subtly supports marriage equality. Someone made an interesting comment in the comment board about using the word opposition to same-sex marriage, and then equality, same-sex equality. So it's like weird. Because it's like basically saying that if you're opposing, that you're in some kind of conflict, right? That you're competing against each other if you're in a regular traditional family. But if you're non-traditional, that's normal, and that you're not competing. You can go through and read the rest of them. Give them the same-sex couples in attendance the first dance. Have the DJ invite them to take the first dance as a showing of support for their ongoing fight for acceptance and the right to be legally married. Boy Scouts disappointed, Caterpillar dropped support. So Boy Scouts disappointed by Caterpillar decision to drop their support over the gay ban. Decided to withdraw its support for Boy Scouts of America, saying the company believes the group's policy barring homosexual adults from serving as scout leaders is discriminatory. So most of these guys that wear hard hats can give 2 shits about this. But it's very, this is the thing. It's very PC, very politically correct, very trendy, and thus it's very profitable, like cancer and the cancer industry. Very profitable to exploit that. Other companies such as UPS and Intel stopped supporting the Scouts well before the recent decision to allow it. So George Takei and Toya Jackson to join San Diego Gay Pride Parade. So they're thrilled to announce exciting new additions to the amazing Gay Pride weekend. The activist George Takei of Star Trek will be the keynote speaker. So it says here that he's honored to celebrate and shared that truth alongside my husband at this year's San Diego Pride Parade. He's joined by his husband. It says they're in this parade marshals. As parade marshals due to their extensive work as fearless advocates for marriage, anti-bullying efforts, and LGBT equality. Gay groups say Google Plus and iTunes must censor Christian smartphone app to cure homosexuality. So homosexual lobby groups are outraged at Google for having an app that claims to be able to cure unwanted same-sex attraction in 60 days. So it says here the group claims to have helped over 500,000 people overcome unwanted habits. It's called Door of Hope. And Pink News reported that a homosexual group calling itself Gaylasta, sent a statement to Google condemning the idea of homosexual reparative therapy and calling on Google to pull the app. They say that they've been outspoken and active in exposing the dangers of so-called reparative therapy. Homosexuality is not a condition or a disorder that requires treatment. So it's interesting because creativity, just about everything now, withdrawing from caffeine, that can be a disorder. There's all these disorders for everything except for this. It's mind-boggling, right? Striving, questioning authority, that's a disorder. You need pills. Striving to treat whatever or what is not a disorder is not therapy. It is professionalized homophobia. It is dangerous, and it is a threat to all LGBTQ people. Oh, people, that's what we're calling them now. That's a joke, of course. City-sponsored New York NY app for sexually active teens. So I would go back to this. I said they can't believe that a smartphone application could be made available to the general public to help treat homosexuality, but they don't mind this. A new mobile application in New York City is providing advice to teens who are sexually active. Again, never mind that they probably shouldn't be, but let's just say that it's being pushed and openly accepted to kill families, right, and regular partnerships. The app is free and, of course, and contains like vaccines and mobile phones, and contains information for teenagers and where to get free condoms and other birth control. Also is information on where to find, yeah, this is what the other thing is, where to find HIV and STD testing along with free pregnancy testing. So I was just covering this. New York City phone app shows teens where to get an abortion. So it tells them where the nearest abortion clinic is. But also what? There's an application to find out what other teens have STDs and HIV. Normalizing it. Study, and of course it's about treating the symptoms of the social engineering and not the cause. Menopause, all men's fault. So male tendency to choose younger mates gives rise to menopause, says biologists. Evolutionary geneticist study concludes men's partiality for younger mates made fertility futile in older women, gives rise to menopause. And menopause is very, very rare in the animal kingdom, which I think, of course, the menopause is a result of engineering of society and the economy and that. I mean, now you even have male menopause. It's basically where you grow up too fast, and then you're all about getting in the workforce, and then you slave away for 30 years, and you realize, wow, I don't know my children. I was too selfish, and I was trying to, quote, make a better life for my kids, that I ended up not even knowing them or spending time with them. Whether it's pornography or dildos or whatever, dating sites, Viagra, now they have Viagra for women. It all leads to divorces and unhealthy marriages and divorce. Says the study head adds that the trend towards later childbirth, again, put off everything for your own whatever needs, and that could delay when women go through menopause. The average age is 52 in the UK. The social system is changing, of course, again, engineered, with the possibility of menopausal age being delayed. So, of course, they're not going to be able to do that because they're not physically supposed to be having children when you're 67 years old. As far as your health goes, you can die, right? It's about keeping the race going, but they don't want to talk about these issues when they talk about lesbians and gay rights and stuff. But as far as population reduction, population control, these are the same people that push that overpopulation myth. But me personally, I think that they want to weed out the traditional people. They want to basically breed out these people and replace it with a new social system. That is not about family, it's about the global hive mentality. I like to call it co-opting the tribe. It's like a false tribal system. Instead of being instead of having a kind of a class of priests and warriors and chiefs, instead you have these experts that want to kill everybody and engineer society, make it as unnatural as possible. But that's the thing. By the time they want to have children, they can't. They physically can't. So then they have to go to these experts to be able to do that in a laboratory. Then you have here Sesame Street designs online kit for kids with parents in prison. So like divorce skyrocketed rates, parents in prison. Now Sesame Street wants to accommodate that. Petition calls for Sesame Street's Bert and Ernie to get married. Let's legalize polyamory and let's privatize marriage. They say here this one individual, he's involved with a woman named Vicky, her husband Jim, and Jim's girlfriend Maria. They're polyamorous and they consider themselves a true family. They're consensual, ethical, and responsible non-monogamy, but unlike polygamists, they're not motivated by religion. Like gay marriage, they say the studies say it will actually be good for kids, even though it'll lead to pedophilia. Again, mother throws 6-day-old baby down 40-foot trash chute and the baby lives. Do men need more rights on forced fatherhood? In the world of non-monogamous relationships and high divorce rates, the phrase refers to guys who get turned into fathers against their will through unplanned pregnancy. this world is truly turning into a hellhole. Either way, thank you and God bless.